Welcome to the Green Room. My name is Danielle Carpidi, and thank you once again for joining us today. I am delighted and excited. I have two amazing, beautiful ladies with me here today. I've got Louise, a former journalist, well, still technically, and then we have Thuli, a stylist. So let's get right into it, ladies. How are you doing today?
Awesome.
Awesome. You,
Lovely
Thuli?
to be here.
I'm okay.
Geez, you guys look amazing. Hey? I love the red and black, and I like the black. The black is so elegant and serious. Louise, we'll start with you. Your journey is phenomenal. I mean, you've done everything. Earlier, just before we started shooting, we were talking about being a jack of all trades, and that's really what you are. And the actual saying, Green Room members, is jack of all trades, master of none is better than jack of all trades, master of one. There we go. So that's what you are technically. Tell us a little bit more about your journalism, everything. Just expose us.
Well, I mean, I got into journalism by accident as such. I called myself an accidental journalist.
Okay.
I started off with the Sunday Times as a project secretary.
Yes.
And then they discovered that I could write, I could do video and photography.
Yes.
And the next thing I knew, they put me out on the road on a story because they didn't have anybody else to cover it.
Yes.
And I had to sneak into a hospital pretending I was somebody's relative to get a story. So that's basically how it started. And the video aspect, I was actually like the first video journalist in South Africa. Yes. And I had actually done a joke video with a friend of mine who had a Brazilian wax.
Okay.
And I filmed her having the process, and sort of like the video, the camera angle starts going down, and everyone's like, "No, no, we don't want to see what's going on down there." And of course, I didn't do that, but
Yes.
I sort of gave, and it was like that video. Everybody just went crazy,
Yeah,
because it was the first one that I'd done. And I mean, it was on the Sowetan, it went on to Sunday Times, Business Day even.
Gosh.
And they were like, what are you going to do next? And the next thing I knew, I was out on the road covering hard news, fashion shows, sort of like whatever was going on in town. I was out there with my camera. I was out with, sort of names that you would know, at, Eyewitness News and things like that.
Yes.
And they were all out there with their notepads and still taking notes. Whereas with me, I was recording all of the audio. I was recording all of the visuals. I'd go back to the office. I'd produce a video, write a 400 word story, and supply the photographs as well. And I mean, like with regards to entertainment and stuff like that, I became sort of like one of the page 3 girls in the Sowetan.
Yes.
Because I would have such amazing content. And then a lot of the times as well with the news stories and things I was covering, the content was also going into the paper, and I would have the videos ready for sort of like 6 o'clock the next morning when the paper was coming out on the street. And I mean, the Sowetan were a lot more advanced than every other publication at the time.
Yeah.
And it was actually, I would have to say, one of my favorite positions ever. It was one of the favorite places that I worked at.
Okay.
And it was like I would go out and I'd say to people, I work for the Sowetan. And they're like, no, you don't. And I'm like, I do. They're like, you're white.
You're white.
You're white. And I'm like, okay, we are talking like 2008, 2009 odd. And it was like, nobody believed that there was a white person working at the Sowetan.
Yeah.
But it really, out of everywhere I worked, apart from like Eyewitness News, I'm going to have to say that the Sowetan for me was a serious highlight.
Really? That's fantastic.
Very much so.
That's so amazing. And then you did some work with, is it Pray Celt? The organization?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yes.
Prekelt contacted me, and I actually filmed for them here in South Africa.
Yes.
And then with a lady in the States, I edited with her. So I basically put the basic video together. And then this lady contacted me from the States and said, I'd like this, I'd like that. Can you add in this? Can you add in that?
Yes.
So at that, I mean, that was quite some time ago. And then to actually, realize that you can actually live anywhere and film and edit internationally as well.
Yes.
And we can do all of that here from South Africa as well.
Yes.
The world is our oyster with regards to work. And apart from Precult as well, there was another organization that, like, late last, not right about this time last year, actually, it was Mother's Day. I did a quick campaign for them. It was like a new app that they were launching. It was all to do with doing a video for like a Mother's Day wish. And it was with regards to children coloring in a picture. And when you scanned over the picture that the kids had colored in, there would then be a video message. And at that stage, with COVID already, sort of like set in globally, that it was, you couldn't be with your mother, you couldn't be with your family and celebrating Mother's Day and things like that. And it was a case of, with this new app that they had, and also I was quite lucky that it was just before they were like locking us down completely again.
Yes.
And the footage I had actually wasn't good enough. So that they'd supplied me, and I actually ran off to go and visit my niece and her 2 kids, and the husband was there.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up filming them and getting footage that was absolutely perfect.
Wow.
For the market in the UK, which was what they were launching for as well. So, I mean, we can do absolutely everything here in South Africa, and we can supply so much globally. We really can.
So then you move away from journalism, and then you start moving towards becoming an entrepreneur. And I'm just like, how do the two meet, And please explain to us what led you into that direction.
Okay, well, basically not working for an actual publication.
Yes.
It's very difficult to get work, and, a lot of newspaper publications are cutting down on their staff, they're cutting down on freelancers, and they're bringing in a lot of interns to actually do the job that, like, seasoned journalists were doing before. So I basically just had to reach out, and a lot of the work that I actually get is fortunately through word of mouth.
Okay.
Where people have said to me, can you come and do this, can you come and do that? And I mean, at one stage there was so little work on the go that I was even going out and babysitting. And doing that kind of thing, because that's what you've got to do to survive and keep a roof over your head. You've got to do absolutely everything that you can do. I was quite blessed that I met a lady at a safari lodge. I was on a game drive with some friends and met somebody from the Institute of Internal Auditors, South Africa. They discovered that I did video, etc. And I ended up going to do all of their corporate videos and things like that. So sort of spreading out, not necessarily being a journalist, but actually telling other people's stories and capturing corporate videos for people. Some of the others that I worked with as well would be University of Johannesburg.
Yes.
LETPC, who are the Lights Electronic Production sort of facility body that most of like the roadies are part of, and I would go into their annual conference every year as well. So I was always meeting very interesting people, like for the internal audit, for the Institute of Internal Auditors. I interviewed like the Auditor General, the Mayor of Pretoria, sort of the Vice Chancellor of Rao University. So like very high profile people for them, where they would speak about governance and crime and being whistleblowers. And then, the other thing as well, with my journalism background, I have a lot of knowledge in different things because I didn't have a beat.
Yes.
So I did entertainment, breaking news, politics, murder, court. I would, at one stage I was also known as like the protest, girl, because I was always the one out on the Million Man marches and, you know, whenever there was a protest out in Ennerdale
You
or
were there
Alex,
capturing it.
I was there having stun grenades thrown
Oh
at
my
me,
goodness.
and being fired upon with rubber bullets, and
Jeez.
you know, like the protesters with their golf balls heading towards me.
Yes.
I was once standing on a wall outside a hospital where the nurses were protesting.
Yeah.
And the next thing, I'm there with my camera filming, and the police fired water cannon on me. I was standing on a 6-foot
Oh
wall.
my gosh.
And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, I must have looked so menacing.
So you're here behind the camera and you're getting absolutely wet and you're capturing everything that's happening in front of the camera. And you know, even when we're watching your videos, we realize that you're telling a story, or when something's happening on television, we realize that people are actually seeing this all come together. Hence we have Thuli here today, who's actually dealing with what's happening in front of the camera. And Thuli, tell us what actually happens in terms of you styling somebody. Or let's start at the very top. What is a stylist?
A stylist is somebody who will take care of your color of clothes, who look at the tone of clothes, and we mostly look at the character of a person.
Okay.
You know, how they come about.
Okay.
When I style somebody, say for instance, when you're not around and they tell me to style somebody, I would ask questions like, is she tall? Is she short? What shoe size? What does she do?
Yeah.
And mostly I love to make people to feel very comfortable about themselves in whatever
Yes.
they're wearing, you know,
Yes.
because fashion is not about impressing, but it's about expressing yourself, you know.
Yes.
And so therefore I always make it look fun for you and to be fun and be comfortable, you know, even if it's something that you're not normally used to wearing.
Yes.
But let it take you out of your comfort zone, because you're always comfortable in wearing black. So therefore sometimes we'll maybe say, let's go for your royal blues, or you know, just to
Yes.
because color is very important on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. And you're absolutely right, because I can see what you're wearing and you look absolutely amazing. But I can't see myself in that, because I'll be thinking, if I'm bending, picking over my kid, it's going to be heavy. How do you go about in terms of that? Do you do like an entire full wardrobe for individuals? What are the jobs that you can get is basically what I'm asking.
Styling is one of them for, let's say, a TV show.
Okay.
I would do like your wardrobe assist.
Okay.
Let's say maybe if you maybe gained weight or lost weight, you know, you will help me into your home and we'll look into your closet.
Wow.
What is it that you'd really love to keep, you know, and
Yes.
what is it that you should give away, you know?
Yes.
And I always tell people that whatever that you want to take out from your closet, you know, if you want to give to somebody, please don't give somebody a torn jacket or something that you will never wear. You know,
Yes.
so it's always about styling as individuals, or maybe doing costumes.
Okay.
You know, so.
So in terms of costume, so now we have Louise who's sitting here, and Louise is behind the camera writing a story about the camera, but she's capturing everything that's happening. She's asking the questions, she's trying to capture the moments, and you're creating the moments. And then COVID comes. And then there's no more any moments to be captured. There's no costumes that are being needed. What's happening at the SABC, for a fact, I mean, a lot of shows are being run to their end. So how then do you sustain yourself during this period? What are you guys, we'll start with you, Louise. What are you doing currently?
Okay, well, I mean, I basically had to really dig deep into sort of skills and things that I'd acquired, like way back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I actually did fashion design and management.
Awesome.
And I sort of like decided that right now that everybody was hauling out all of their sewing machines out of the cupboards and things like that and making masks.
Yes.
So that's what I decided to do. And I mean, I'm going to tell you that it wasn't easy. I mean, we had to go and stand in queues outside of fabric shops for like 6 hours at a time, because they were only letting people into the stores for 20 minutes at a time to select the fabrics and things that you wanted.
Yeah.
And then if you needed or you forgot anything, you'd have to get back into that queue again and stand for another 6 hours. So it was pretty hectic you know, when the stores and things opened and stuff like that. I don't know if you found much the same.
Did you
but I mean,
experience that?
yeah, clothing stores, everything was
Yeah.
shut.
I never even visited clothing stores because I didn't want to see myself in those kind of queues.
Yes.
You know, when lockdown, when they said on the 26th of the lockdown,
Yes.
I didn't want to believe it. You know, I had to pack everything in my flat and think about packing things out of the store that I used to rent in Maboneng. I had plans, you know,
Yes.
and I was scared to go back to my mother's house and try to live my life like I'm a normal person, you know, like I'm surviving, you know.
Yeah.
So when lockdown happened, for instance, days before when lockdown was announced,
Yes.
with my partner, we bought sanitizers, just like a
Okay.
whole lot of sanitizers.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, they sold like,
Hotcakes.
yes, they sold like hotcakes
Okay.
every day, you know. And but we had to get out of the spaces where we used to live in.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and also we used to sell eggs for at the time your 30 eggs would sell for like 75 rand.
Oh my gosh.
You know, we sold it for 45, 47 rand.
Yeah.
You know, so we had to find something to sustain us because he's in the theater.
Okay.
He's a performer, you know.
Oh my gosh.
So theaters are closed down, shops are closed down, rent has to be paid.
Oh my
we have to
gosh.
leave. You know, I also learned to just get out of the comfort zone, take pictures every day of whatever I have in the house and sell. Meaning not even just my clothes, but if I see something that I thought it looked nice, I'll take a picture of that and sell.
Oh my
So
gosh.
media played a very big role, you know, social media stands. That's where I had to be out of my comfort zone and shoot every day, whatever
Yeah.
I'm doing, whatever that I'm doing, I have to shoot and sell.
So there's a connection between the two of you, right? In terms of the way your mind, and you had to change the space in terms of understanding what it is that you had told yourself you were going to do, and then you go into an entire array of different things that you have to try and scrap together to make money, different ideas, etc. But now there's a little bit of a struggle because you're used to cameras and lights, and everybody's just popping out their phone. Thuli was mentioning how she would take pictures of things she had in her house, which worked as a positive for her. But I think to some degree, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if there's still that aspect that, like you standing there getting wet with your camera. And is that still happening? Is there still excitement in that, or has media completely changed? And has technology reduced that for you?
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the thing that has definitely happened, you know, with the onset of COVID, is that a lot more people are using their phones.
Yeah.
Like, for example, just before COVID lockdown, I had like 11 assignments booked with a very prestigious business school where I was actually going in and filming the lectures and then getting sort of like the class material, slides, etc., and turning that into a production.
Okay.
So that, you know, should that lecturer maybe be ill when they're doing that part of the thing again, they could actually just run this video that I was doing. But then, of course, with the onset of COVID, everybody just got onto Zoom and they were doing all classes and stuff like that. So, like, that kind of work has dried up. However, what I have had, for example, back with, for example, Henley Business School, is they do a lot of testimonials with the students.
Okay.
So then what they do now is somebody else films the footage, they send it to me, I edit it, and then send it back to them, and then they put it online. So I've still got the editing skills that I can rely on right now. But then also, you know, I haven't really had the opportunity to go out with my camera recently and actually do any filming.
Yeah.
Your phones are just becoming so useful, so amazing. The quality of the video, I mean, I use that also. For example, I would be filming with my main camera, but recording cutaways, B-roll footage with the camera, which is absolutely, you know, amazing too. But I mean, just moving away quickly from the camera aspect.
Yeah.
As I said to you, that I started to make masks.
Yeah.
But not only did I start to make masks, but I actually took in some varsity students and I taught them to sew.
Yes.
And I set them up to actually start their own little businesses and to become entrepreneurs as well. And then also some ladies who were home helpers.
Yep.
Some friends invited me into their homes to teach
Yeah.
the ladies who work for them to actually sew, and then set them up with machines and bought them fabrics and things like that. So, skills transfer, trying to help other people as well. Also just so into that, and giving and sharing, each one teach one, all of those kind of things, as well. And, like I've also changed other people's lives as well,
Through doing that.
and then also like, taking your example of how you were like surviving and selling things as well. I've also done much the same as that, furniture and things like that. But I mean, people will also have learned, through what you were doing. Maybe you can share with us some examples of, people who've taken on board what you were actually doing, and let's call it the struggle.
It's a struggle.
And
It's such a struggle, because you're talking about selling things like furniture
Yeah.
and things like that. And for Thuli, I'm thinking, do you have a clothing label line? Do you have a clothing label line?
We only have it's not a clothing line,
Okay.
but we're working towards that.
Okay.
It's Wankaza clothing and fashion styling.
Okay, awesome. So where do you get your clothes from, Thuli? Are you going out into shops and buying the clothes? Where are you getting your clothes from for somebody? So you've got the stuff that you make, and then you go out and shop for people. But do you go like to conventional stores, or do you have a secret to tell us? Where we can... That's what I actually want.
I love recycled clothes.
Awesome.
I think my grandmother and my grandfather used to travel a lot, especially to the US or to Israel. Unfortunately, I never really had the opportunity to travel to the States. When lockdown became lockdown, we were supposed to go to Dubai. That was going to be my first experience to go and shop in Dubai, because normally I would go into people's boutiques and check what they have, what's cheap, But I love thrifting. I thrift. I know all the spots. I know what to choose. I'm very skilled in that.
Okay.
And I collect my clothes from a shop, from your mall, wherever, as long as it's something that I really love.
Okay.
And I see I can utilize it, then I'll collect that. So that's why I call myself a collector.
Okay.
I collect everywhere I go, and there's like old items that I will only use to style with, but not sell,
Okay.
Clothes that are like, let me rather say, items that are really sentimental, like my grandmother's dresses. I've got my grandmother's dresses that I sometimes use to dress up somebody and say, okay, after, please take it to the dry cleaners and bring it back. So I do a lot of those. I love old clothes. I love antique clothes. With the new. Also, another thing is with what I used to sell in the city, I no longer sell in the because I had to move my shop to Soweto now. I had to move my shop into the garage and set up and make it look like we're in, I don't know where.
Back in Maboneng.
Yes.
Yes.
It's amazing how people come in and say, wow, it looks so beautiful.
Yes.
I've thought of doing this, but people don't have the nerve to say, okay, I'm going to bring my business home. And now my market has changed. I dress bigger women now, which is something that I've always wanted to do.
And it's funny you're saying that, because you're so tiny. So now you think, how will she know exactly what I need to do?
Exactly. And
where?
I started in Jan in Soweto, and I'm telling you, the support is so great. And also, I've learned that the market changes, things change, a way of living change. You have to minimize stuff every time.
Yes, yes. So I've learned a lot from you two ladies, and I just want to say thank you for teaching me. Thank you for being almost like a like a philanthropist, you know. Thank you very much. And thank you, Thuli, for gracing us with your presence and your beauty. And I think we've learned a lot from each other. It's always important for ladies to teach each other. Thank you so much again for joining the Green Room. Today was explosive. And please do join us next time again. Bye.